Hello, welcome to the Neuff how-to videos. Today we're looking at choosing starting blocks. On the table we have the World, Classic, Pro Olympic and Super Olympic starting blocks. We also have a Galaxy starting block which I will mention, but I'm afraid we don't have one for this video here. Fundamentally, there are some elements that go across all the starting blocks. They all have footplates with a strong heavy-duty synthetic polymer footpad. So the Super Olympic starting blocks have a rounded dimple footpad. Pro Olympic and Classic are very similar. They have a speckled small dimple with a grip bar, and the World has a pyramid structure grip. They are all suitable for track spikes and they're all hard wearing. All of the footplates also have an adjustable angle on them by use of a simple bar changer. So you spring that out and you can change the angle of the footplate to suit your foot. They all also have a T-bar fitting with 4 spikes at the front. They come with either 9mm or 11mm track spikes to fit into a synthetic track surface, and a T-bar at the back with 4 spikes on either side. They also have 3 pin fixing points for use on grass tracks and other such surfaces. Now to come to some of the differences between them. So the Pro Olympic, Classic and World blocks are all 6kg blocks. The Super Olympic is a 7.5kg block and the Galaxy is 9kg. So the 6kg blocks are all suitable for the majority of athletes. Certainly if you are a younger or lighter weight athlete, you'll want to be choosing from this range of blocks because the additional weight on the others really does make a difference when you're carrying those blocks around and setting them up on the track, and they're perfectly sturdy enough for most body weights. If you are a stronger or heavier athlete, you may appreciate the extra stability that the extra weight of the Super Olympic block gives you, and of course you're not going to struggle to carry that extra weight around to set your blocks up. The Galaxy blocks, which are 9kg, are generally used by stadia who are carrying them around on trolleys in order to set them up for competition use, rather than it's quite unusual for them to be used by individual athletes. The other size difference between the blocks is the centre bar. So the Super Olympic block has the longest centre bar, which makes it useful again for athletes perhaps with longer legs or a longer, wider stance when they're sitting on the starting block, because you can get a wider spread of your foot plates than you can, for example, with the Pro Olympic. So the Pro Olympic and the Classic have a shorter centre bar length and the World is in between. The width of the bar is also different. So the Super Olympic, Pro Olympic and World are all fully aluminium blocks. They have a very similar width of centre bar. The Classic block has aluminium foot pads, but it has a chromed steel centre bar. Chrome steel is a heavier, denser alloy, which means that the centre bar is made smaller to keep the weight down. That means that if you have a very narrow stance on starting blocks, you may prefer these. Certainly we've had feedback from athletes with a standard stance and they find these perfectly good, so it's not necessarily that you have to avoid it if you don't have a particularly narrow stance. The other difference between the centre bars is that these Super Olympic, Pro Olympic and Classic all have a carrying handle. This makes it much easier to pick the block up off the track once it's been dug into the track with the spikes. It also makes it easier to put them in and out of the carrying bag. The handles all have the same feature in that when they're not in use, they fold down so that they're out of the way and don't pose a trip hazard when you're using the blocks. Now, the differences between the foot plates are mainly the fixing points. So the Pro Olympic and the Classic have a double bolt system fixing point, so they fix onto 2 of the grooves on the centre bar. That means that on an uneven surface, you're not going to get much wobble or play. This is a very stable footplate fixing. The Super Olympic and the World have a single bolt point fixing onto the starting block, onto the centre bar. So if you're on a stable track surface, you're not going to notice much difference, particularly once you're sat on the blocks. But on an uneven surface, you may notice a bit more play and wobble. So if you're looking for blocks which are going to be regularly used on grass or other uneven surfaces, it might be something that you want to consider. The Super Olympic and the World blocks are both certified by World Athletics. If you're requiring them for international competition, all of the blocks are perfectly suited for competition up to national levels, so UKA competition in the UK. And in terms of starting block bag size, the 6 kilogram blocks, so the Pro Olympic, Classic and World blocks all fit in a size 2 block bag, whereas the Super Olympic blocks fit into a size 3 starting block bag. Hope you found this video useful. Do look at our other how-to videos on how to put your starting blocks together, for example, and we hope you enjoy your sport.